We're in the parks for our weekly Disneyland construction update, and we can report that the 2023 Halloween season is arriving. Meanwhile, San Fransokyo nears completion, and downtown Disney, that's growing fast too. But let's start at the beginning, at the main entrance to Disneyland, where Floral Mickey has changed his colors. Floral Mickey had been purple and silver, I guess, for the 100th. But we can now report that as of this recording, the little flourishes, the floral flourishes around Mickey are their traditional fall colors, orange and yellow. Looks great. Looking forward to seeing all kinds of new fall color happening throughout the park today. There's nothing quite as Disneyland as Floral Mickey when you walk into that park. It really is a very warm greeting to your day, no matter what time of year you arrive. Meanwhile, we found orange and yellow at Town Square, and at first I didn't notice this. I just noticed the fact that it was, orange and yellow. I'm like, okay, fall's here. But what's not here is the 100th anniversary statue of Mickey. Last week we said, when you see the statue gone, you can expect the big giant Mickey pumpkin to arrive at its place very soon. So we're going to be looking for that. As a matter of fact, by the time we produce our next construction update, well, it's going to be September 2nd, so definitely. But in between this one and the next, that pumpkin, it's going to be arriving any day. I would say in the next couple of days. Perhaps by the time you see this video, we have seen the pumpkin. But there you go. However, the rest of Town Square and Main Street still showing. You can see the buntings that are still showing the purple and silver bunting for the Halloween season. That's got to come down soon. That's got to come down. Let's go down Main Street. We'll stop at the windows on Main Street. This one is just outside the music shop, the pin trading shop. I love this pumpkin. It's always one of my favorites. What is that? I don't even know what that is. But okay, so the witch-themed window that is in between the theater and the market house is back. The witch theme is there, including Book from Hocus Pocus. This is one of my favorite windows every year. I love this part of Halloween. There's Book again. And the theme this year, Liz noticed this. I would never have noticed this, but Liz did. She said this year they've got the book, the potion book for the Evil Queen, and it's on the poison apple page for Sleeping Death. Okay, you mean it wasn't like that last year? No, it was not, she said. But I do love it. I just love the aesthetic that it gives in the window. I think it's awesome during the Halloween season. And there's more like this throughout the park on the other side of the street, near Carnation Cafe and Gibson Girl and all that, is this wonderful, Halloween party dessert tray setup. You got some coffee, or I guess teacups there with the witches on there, some Halloween desserts, and some fall decorations, the flowers, etc., witch's broom, pumpkins, etc. It's happening. It's happening, you guys. I love it. It's happening. The fall season is here. The Halloween season is here. We are now on a constant 4-month countdown for some of the best 4 months you'll find in the park until January. Awesome. Love it. So Liz says that's the book that was in the witch's window across the street. I'll take her word for it. I want to eat that cupcake. Love candy corn and bats and scary cats. Okay, so that's Halloween on Main Street. Let's go to Adventureland to update you on the restrooms. We mentioned last week that the walls are down. The restrooms are back open. And on this visit, the walls on the left were down. Also, after they had opened the restrooms back up, there were still walls along the Tiki Juice Bar, over there where the Tiki Room is. But those walls are gone now as well. At first, I felt like maybe this whole path was a little wider than it was before, but I look back at some old footage and it looks about the same. Maybe my eyes, because I got so used to seeing those walls up, but this is about as it was before. There might be some minor changes to the way they arranged the fence over here on the left when you look at it from the exit, from going the opposite direction. But otherwise, no major changes here to the path entering Adventureland. And by the way, those walls, they've got the rock work has got to return, because if they don't, because right now it's still only half repaired, which is why the walls are still up, I think. If they don't, that thing right there is going to be in full view of guests. And that, my friends, is not good show. That is bad show. So I would expect, I've been worried. I worry about things. I worry that Disney's going to forget, or they're just going to change their mind. They're going to do less. I've got reason to feel that way these days sometimes. But they can't. I don't think they can ignore this. They can't ignore. That's why the rock work was there to begin with, is to obscure the plumbing. That I don't know what they call that. The water line there. They have to obscure that from public view somehow. So I would expect some kind of rock work or themed feature to be replaced, to put back in order to cover up the view of that apparatus, whatever that is. While we're in Adventureland, we'll take a new look at the current status of the Adventureland Treehouse. The scaffolding is still down on the daughter side of the treehouse, but you can see that there's new scaffolding up. This is about where the entrance is going to be. Guests are going to enter. We mentioned this before, but the reversing the flow. The way out is now the way in. The way in, well, it's gone now, but they have to build a new way out where that scaffolding is now. My assumption is that scaffolding is there to help install the water wheel feature, which you can just barely see over that wall, which they still have not, installed completely, and to finish creating they have to create a new staircase to connect the treehouse to the kitchen area, which is going to be where the guests exit the treehouse. Here's a look from the opposite side, and that's just a whole mess of scaffolding. It was very difficult to see anything at all through all of that scaffolding, because what I was trying to see is, if I could, in fact, see where that platform that was, floating, where you're supposed to connect the staircase to that other platform that was also floating. Somehow they got to connect those two. There it is. This is a closer look. You can see the kind of the floating platform there, but I can't make out if have been able to get to create an addition, the staircase into that floating platform. By the way, this is the first look I've been able to get, a clean look of the daughter's room. This is from the Indiana Jones side of things, and you can see that they've installed some windows, some actual glass windows in the daughter's room. Those look pretty nice right there, but it still can't see much through the trees. And then another look at the daughter's room from the Pirates of the Caribbean bridge. And here, this looks much like we've seen, we can't see the glass windows from here. This part has got the netting. And then otherwise, again, I can't see anything on the ground through all of this nonsense. There's a light fixture there, and that actually looks kind of cool. I don't know what that's, it looks like a piece of wood with some light sticking out of it. Is that supposed to be fire? I'm not sure. And there's some stuff covered in tarp there. Not sure what that is. There's the water wheel, again, still covered in plastic wrap. I'm not sure how far along they are in terms of putting that together. I can say this. I believe that we are, well, obviously we're as close as we've ever been, but I believe that I can now safely predict, based on what I'm seeing on the ground and in these images here, I think we're maybe 3 or 4 weeks away from the treehouse being open. I think there's a good chance that the treehouse will be up and running before October 1st. So what is that? That's actually 5 weeks from now. So that's being up. I think October 1st is probably as late, unless something happens to make them fall behind in a way that they weren't expecting, i.e. Hurricane Hillary. That might have set them back a little bit. But my expectation is that we're probably about 4 weeks away from this being done, maybe sooner. We've got to cross our fingers, hoping it'll be here, before October. Okay, we got on the Mark Twain to do a little work, and a part of that work was to see if we could see anything at all of Tianas Palace, which is opening on September 7th. Nothing to see in terms of them adding any new features, but we did see cast in there. Those are cast, I'm assuming, training. They're prepping to open Tianas Palace, and they're probably training. I don't know. I thought maybe they might be doing some taste testing, which is probably a thing. But we are seeing them getting familiar again with the restaurant. Very exciting. From the other side, we can see that they have added some new art on the entrance there. That's the entrance, or I should say that's actually the exit as guests leave the food service location and head out into the dining or the seating area. So that's the only thing new at Tianas Palace for now. But it does look like they are training and getting ready to open. Next door, Haunted Mansion Holiday. Here we go. This is exciting. Last week we saw a few pumpkins. So much more has been done this week. Pumpkins everywhere. Lots of the traditional, customary theme features. You've got Jack up there at the entrance, sitting on a pumpkin. That's always been one of my favorite parts of, going to the Haunted Mansion Holiday is the entrance here. Here's a shot that I got also from the Mark Twain, looking down at the entrance. It's so exciting. What else we got? Okay, there's some more pumpkins. Oh, I love that part there. The list there in front. We'll get another look at that in a minute. But there's Jack again, examining a snowflake. He's very curious about the Christmas holiday. Awesome entrance, Haunted Mansion Holiday, opening up September 1st. There's the coffin, that's a sleigh. And there's the list hanging from the coffin / sleigh. I say this every single year. I've been coming to Disneyland or reporting from Disneyland, reporting on Haunted Mansion Holiday every year for 12, 13 years now. And every year I say the same thing. I love the arrival of Haunted Mansion Holiday, of the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay. I love the arrival. I love seeing something new happening, changes coming. Halloween is great. I get excited when it starts. But I mean, as far as the Haunted Mansion is concerned, I mean, I'm good with it after about 2 weeks. So my effervescent attitude towards Haunted Mansion Holiday will probably wear off in a little bit. But right now, I am super stoked to see everything here. This is so much fun. There's a view again from the side. You've got a pumpkin there in the foreground with the mansion in the background. By the way, music. We get music also. We get a scarecrow, a pumpkin scarecrow with a Santa hat on it. But yeah, that's something that we don't get at regular Haunted Mansion is cue music. But we get some great cue music for Haunted Mansion Holiday. He looks cool. He looks even better at night when you're looking up at him towards the mansion. Always a favorite shot of mine. I try to get that every year. But yeah, I'm just in love with trying to capture the aesthetic of Haunted Mansion Holiday here. Still, you can see a little bit through the scrim as well. That's the rear queue back there. Got some more pumpkins and some black garland. And then this is from the New Orleans Square walkway. Love the clock, on the Haunted Mansion itself. All right, let's get back on the Mark Twain and check out Tiana's Bayou Adventure right next door. And looks about like it did last week when we look at this, this perspective of the mountain. Still, under scrim, or scaffolding, which is going to be the case for quite a while now. And you still see those debris chutes and still a lot of stuff under plastic wrap. Another shot down the chute. Looks the same. Meanwhile, in the turnaround, it looks like they're getting even more. It was very bright. I could not get the light right here. Very bright out on this day. But they're still working on, this is where the ride vehicles kind of float around in that circle before they start heading up the first lift hill, or the second lift hill. And this week I want to compare it. I want to show you where you are, what we're looking at. This black and gray area here, that's where the boats are going by. You can kind of see the path right there. And you can see those rocks on the left of frame. Where you're at in this shot are those rocks right there, the briar thorns and all that. There's water you're in the water in the boat, and there's also on the other side of that divider, there's more water. That's the water, that's all gone, it's all empty. That's what you're seeing now in the after shots, as it were, from the Mark Twain. You're seeing just the rocks. As a matter of fact, they've taken out some more of those rocks too. I think there's only just those 3 that are left. And all the water's gone, all the briar work is gone. What's going to replace that? We'll stand by and see, I guess. But that's what we're missing right now from that view. Back on the ground, here's a front view of the mountain. Looks standard. I asked last week about this thing right here. I asked last week what people thought that was, and a lot of people are saying it's a debris chute, or just some other way of getting rid of refuse. I'm not sure if I buy that. Others are saying they could be getting ready to, that's where they're going to install the water tower, which, that makes sense, but I really don't think that we're in the build stage right now. We're still in demo mode. So I don't know that they would be preparing already to put that in. However, as I recall, I remember seeing reports from Florida where people said, oh, hey, they brought in the water tower. But is that where we are? We could be getting close to that. We could be getting close. They brought that thing in pretty early on in the process at Florida. I've been ignoring Florida. I've been ignoring Splash Mountain, Tianas Bayou Adventure in Florida on purpose, because I want to watch it happen and not know too much. Maybe I should look at it. I don't know. But for now, I haven't been looking, so I'm not sure how far. I'm not sure if we're in the same time zone or time frame as they are, when they brought in the water tower, the Tiana's Foods water tower. But that is approximately where we should find it, in my mind's eye. This is from the Hungry Bear. Things are looking fairly standard on this side. But over here, check that out. There's some steel right there. I'm not positive. I'm not 100% if that's steel that they've added that wasn't where there was nothing before, or if they removed a wall and has exposed the steel. I'm inclined to think the former, actually, because that steel looks pretty new. If they had taken down a wall that revealed that steel, then that steel would have looked more aged, I think, right? It wouldn't look as clean and new. So if that's new steel, then why, I wonder? Something we'll have to come back to next week. Meanwhile, the front of the attraction looks as it has the past few weeks. There have been no changes made to the entrance for a while now. Critter House number 2 is still there. Otherwise, things look about normal on the backside as we pan across. No visible changes or updates from this perspective. So we'll go to Fantasyland next. Last week, scrims were down at Fantasyland. I didn't get a chance to include that in last week's construction update, but the scrims were down, and we were able to see construction crews working on the Princess Fantasy Faire structures. Definitely new paint happening throughout, giving everything a fresh coat, it would appear. This week when we're there, scrims are back up, but we don't expect this job to take much longer than it has already. I'm guessing about as long as the paint took on the other side of Fantasyland with Red Rose Tavern. Meanwhile, over in Toontown, situation as it has been the past few weeks, still waiting for the splash pad at Donald's Boat. Space Mountain, we'll talk about that again. I want to remind everybody, Space Mountain is going to close in about, I don't want to say 2 or 3 weeks, middle of September, and it'll be closed for about a month and a half. Probably going to be closed for the entire, or nearly the entire Halloween season. The first couple of weeks it might be open, but after that it's going to be closed until probably early November. Get your rides in at Space Mountain while you can. So let's go to DCA then, because we're talking about Halloween decorations. They have decked out Buena Vista Street with those purple buntings and the banners, etc. That's all Halloween. I learned something new this year, actually. The bunting that you see hanging from like the 5 and dime right there, those are bats. That's a bat with his eyes glimmering in the sunlight. But those buntings that are hanging are also bats too. They're bats they've got their arms crossed and they're hanging upside down. That's what the triangles are representing, is a bat hanging upside down. Isn't that cool? There's a bat also right there on the bridge over Buena Vista Street where the monorail goes by. I love bats. Meanwhile, the windows have been decorated. Just go walk up and down Buena Vista Street and you'll see some of the coolest decorations in the windows, even cooler than those on Main Street. DCA really does a great job with Halloween. They're allowed to do things there like putting skeletons in the window at the Atwater Ink and Paint building where you can learn to draw. You could learn to draw the Headless Horseman, for example. That's what they're teaching this season. I love that. I love that they can be more daring and more bold with their Halloween decorations in ways that you couldn't at Disneyland. And of course, Bats and the Belfry are back at Carthay Circle. Looks better at night. Looking forward to seeing all this lit up, which again will be this time next week, September 1st. The Halloween season begins at the Disneyland Resort on September 1st, just a few days from now. They've got their own pumpkins as well on the Carthay Circle building. There's a few scary looking ones. Hollywood Boulevard. You'll notice that the banners have been updated there. They've got the Halloween banners there. What's gone are the Rogers the Musical banners. Rogers the Musical, of course, is closing at the end of this month, the day before the Halloween season starts. Last performance for Rogers is August 30th. Meanwhile, in the backlot, Schmoozies is still closed, waiting for that to finish. And closing soon, in the middle of September, is Stage 17, the Marvel Superstore. That is going to be closing on, or I think it's September 15th. What do you think they're going to put in there? I don't know. All I can say is that this building is completely unsuited. This is a terrible use of this building. A gift shop. Blech. It looks terrible. We'll go to Cars Land, where you can see a splash of color has arrived here at Luigi's Rollicking Roasters. That looks great. Orange and red and yellow flags hanging at Luigi's. Looks great against that backdrop. I was like, my goodness, that's really saturated. The tire eyes and the muffler eyebrows and the orange cone teeth are back, hanging over Route 66. You could also see in the background there that the Cozy Cone Motel sign has been uncovered, so they just did a touch up there. Looks identical to how it looked before. They're turning the garage into a possessed building. You'll see eyeballs at night in that building. Where the windows are, there'll be eyeballs. And the statue out in front of the fire department, that'll be a cauldron with a green glow on it. Very cool. Bouvineers. Tarot cards. Oh my God. Why did I never read those signs before? That's great. Construction walls are still up at Radiator Springs Racers, but by the time you see this video, they will be down again. This attraction is supposed to reopen on the 28th, which is the 27th or the 28th, Monday. And obviously, I have no idea what they're doing in there. I have no idea. In San Fransokyo, got some paper lanterns here at Baymax's meet and greet. That's where you're going to be able to find the Baymax bread, the sourdough bread. They've made a Baymax. I can't wait to get. I've never bought bread before from there, but I will be buying that bread. The bridge, it's not done. It looks done-ish. They put all the major pieces up there. It was near complete when we were there last week. All the three main pieces are installed, but there's still some gaps in there they got to fill in. We saw a crew there working when we were there on that day, but this will be ready to go. What are we talking about? It's they got 5 days. You got 5 days, guys. Let's go. 5 days. Meanwhile, at Grizzly Peak and soaring over or around the world, I asked you guys last week about the checkerboard pattern. Apparently, the pattern has always been there. The red and white pattern on the top has always been there. I don't know why I never noticed, but they are giving it a fresh coat of paint, and they are painting the squares that were yellow. They're painting those red now. I think they repainted the observation tower. I think that's red. I think that was green before, but it looks like it's red now, but I'm not positive on that. All right, downtown Disney, back at Centrico of Paseo and Centrico. Not a lot to observe here on this visit. We didn't get any overhead shots from Ballast Point, but the circle has been complete and they are actively working on this. My guess is that they're going to be done building this in around March, I think, is what I'm hearing, about March. Everything is supposed to be done, well, phase one anyway. Everything is supposed to be done by summer. But this, Centrico, should be done ahead of that because they are definitely further along here than they are in other parts of the downtown Disney construction. Looking for March. I don't know what those are. Those weren't there before. I don't know what that is. Last week I was super excited about the green fence turning blue. There you go. The gates are blue. The monorail is blue. The monorail will be open again on September 1st. Add that to the list of things I need to do on the first day of the Halloween season. And we'll check in again on the Din Tai Fung structure and the guitar pick. Things look about, I guess, as they have before or in the past. I mean, it's going to be difficult to discern what developments are happening here. You know, it's going to be like this until we get some, themed elements applied to the structure of the building. But what we do have, although we can't see anything here, we do have one photo from the street team from the Disneyland Hotel that we can maybe learn a few things from. There's the Din Tai Fung. Let's zoom in on that. Oh, there's lots of guys in there working. My goodness. Steel everywhere. Cinder blocks being attached to they're making it higher. They still got a whole story to go there on working on the rear of that building. Here's something that is catching my eye. The guitar pick stage nearest to the walkway in downtown Disney. What is happening there? Why does that look the way it does? It wasn't like that before. Before it was ground level. The bottom of it was ground level. But now it's above the ground. I don't know what that means. My mind says, oh, that's like Tomorrowland Terrace where they can raise the stage and lower it. But why would you ever want to raise the stage to the level that they have it at now? By comparison, let's look at the other one. You can see it's out of frame here, or most of it is, but you can see ground floor is ground floor where all those guys are down there. I cannot make any sense of why they would want or need to do that, at least at the level that it is. It's too high to be anything guest facing, I guess is what I'm saying. I'm going to be very curious to see how that develops and if it stays that way for very long, and if they do obviously the same thing to the other guitar pick stage. But otherwise, everything looks like we left it last week. There's that pathway I was telling you guys about, the little subliminal, hey, come in the downtown Disney path. The Best Buy is still in development, and we'll stand by for new developments next week. If you're staying at the Disneyland Hotel, I would love to see any photos or video that you might have. It's best from the Adventure Tower. The views are best from the Adventure Tower, although you can get some decent views from the Frontier Tower as well. I've never tried to see what they look like from the Fantasy Tower, if you can even see anything from the Fantasy Tower, because I think it's facing the wrong direction. And same for Pixar Place Hotel, by the way. If you got any photos or video of that, I would love to send them to me. You can email me at david@freshbakedisney.com, or you can @ me on Twitter, on X, @ me, or DM me. If it's video, though, you have to @ me because I can't download video from a direct message. And that's it, guys. That's our show this week. That's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned. We do this every single week, every Monday, or we had to do it a little later this week, or last week, I should say, because of the holiday or because of our vacation. But yeah, we try to get these out every single Monday. So follow us here on Fresh Baked for more of those. And then follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. If you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked, where we are uploading content just for Patreon members. I hope you guys enjoy. Otherwise, be safe out there, be kind to one another, and Fresh Bake.